Well, hello, good evening to you. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live from News Up here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, we start from the Ashanti region where the Asante Otumfuo II has distilled a number of chiefs for various reasons. Tonight, we seek an understanding of the situation because a number of you have been talking about it. From the historian and then also our Northern Sector Bureau Chief, William Evansinkum, who has been following this particular situation on the ground. What led to these a number of chiefs being distilled by the Otumfuo to stay with us. Also, tough times for Ghanaians as the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PRC, adjusts upwards tariffs of water and electricity. You're going to pay more for water and electricity for the third quarter, taking effect from September 1. What will be the impact on the ordinary consumer? The obvious question is there, but there are questions that have been raised about the formula the PRC is using to calculate these tariff adjustments. Tonight, we're getting to it. Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, unfazed by the moves by government to freeze their August salaries of members due to their strike action. We'll tell you exactly what the next move of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, is going forward. Stay with us. As always, we're very, very interactive. If you go on our Facebook page right now, we're asking you how much you're paying for electricity and water at the moment, because we want to gauge the impact so we have a real conversation about what's happening to the impact of the increasing rate of electricity and utility tariffs over the period from September last year to this point. Industry as well has been hit heavily. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has announced an increase in utility tariffs effective September 1 following the quarterly adjustment process. Electricity tariffs would go up by 4.22% and water by 1.18%. Economists have described the responses by the governor of the Bank of Ghana for embarking on building a new office as unsatisfactory. They indicate the central bank has failed the country with its conduct.
When you hold the project, there could be potential decay. We don't know the quality or the security specifications of whatever is being committed to. So, from my point of view, I think that the project should be completed. But if we feel that there should be reforms going forward, so that whenever the central bank want to undertake such a huge project, it requires parliamentary approval or other processes should be kicked in.
Leadership of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, says its inability to meet the Education Minister on Monday was not deliberate. The association is, however, unfazed with a decision by the ministry to freeze their August salary.
Recall that in 2018, when we were starting with the B.Ed program, we started with this same action because we felt we needed to also talk about our conditions of service then and all of that. Our salary got frozen under Honorable Napo, and eventually we got what we wanted, and we talked about those things.
African leaders are promoting a continental campaign to return illegally acquired African artifacts to the West. President Akufo-Addo, at a conference in Accra, called for reparation for countries exploited during the slave trade.
Let me state that the subject of restitutions must go along with the matter of reparations. No amount of money can restore the damage caused by the transatlantic slave trade and its consequences, which have spanned many centuries. But nevertheless, it is now time to revive and intensify the discussions about reparations for Africa. Indeed, the time is long overdue.
The Ghana Revenue Authority's Compliance and Enforcement Unit has closed down 3 businesses for failure to issue VAT invoices of the authority. Assistant Commissioner of the Accra Area Enforcement Team says the authority expects all suppliers of taxable items, goods or services to issue VAT invoice as required by law, while the consumer is required by law to obtain VAT invoice from business owners for goods purchased. Managers of the companies were arrested for investigations to begin.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, we start off from the Ashanti region, where the Asante Otunfo'o II has distilled a number of chiefs for various reasons. Tonight, we seek an understanding, especially because of the questions that a number of you, members of the general public, have been asking of the situation from a historian and our Northern Sector Bureau Chief as well, to help us get a clear view of what's happening in the Ashanti region. But take a look at this. Between August, that's the part of July, and now, the Asante Otunfo'o II, in fact, what we monitored was as far back as May. From May, June, July, and this moment, over that 3-month period, Otunfo'o II has distilled at least 5 chiefs in the Ashanti Kingdom for having engaged in various acts unacceptable by the traditional council. So we'll give you an idea of some of the reasons and these 5 chiefs. So here's what you have there on the screen. The 29th of May, 2023, Nana Owusu Ajiman I, the Antwa Traditional Council, who is the chief of the Antwa Traditional Council, 96 years of age, he was found guilty of abandonment of duties and always delegating his position to his nephew to perform the said rights and duties on his behalf. Didn't go down well with the Otunfo'o II, and indeed the council. Now, on the 8th of June, 2023, Nana Nketia Boampong, the chief of Ejisu Kwaso, was also distilled. He was found to have received 120,000 cedis from a royal at Kwaso, one Mr. Jima, who had shown interest in a vacant Odikro stool in the community. Now, let's go to the next one, where the next 2, this is the first 2. Then on the 9th of August, 2023, Nana Saforo Koto, who's the chief of Bekwai, Abodom, also accused of neglecting community duties for more than 7 years. In fact, and then the 14th of August, 2023, the Nkoso Hene, Nana Osei III II, was also distilled. And the reason was that it was found to have disrespected a ruling the Asante made on land litigation issues in the area, right? And we have a video of one of these processes that led to the distillment. And my colleague William Evansinkome is joining me on Zoom. He's our Northern Sector Bureau Chief and our Chief Ashanti Regional Correspondent. He's been following this particular issue and has been playing out over the last 3 months quite closely. Now, William, we see the latest distillment, which is on the 21st of August. Abontom Hene, Nana Kweku Dia III. He was found to have abandoned his duties as well as multiple sale of lands in the area. So we see a number of circumstances related to land and abdication of their duties and so on. Give us an understanding of how the people in the Ashanti region especially have been reacting to what's been happening over the last 3 months. William.
Well, I can tell you the majority of the people are happy that this kind of development is happening because they think, especially communities where these chiefs have now do not have any traditional authority, they think that, I mean, a lot of things have been going wrong.
Unfortunate. We'll reconnect with William Evans Income shortly. Would have the clear view and also the reactions, especially of the people in the Ashanti region, and indeed some of you who have been reacting to these developments on social media. But this is one of the 5 chiefs who were distilled over the last 3 months. This is what happened. Take a look. See, OPEM, so 104.7. So, Evans, we see the removal of the sandals, the traditional sandals of the chiefs, at least in this video we just saw. You were telling me about how the people in the Ashanti region have been reacting to what's been happening over the last 3 months. William?
Well, absolutely. So, well, the removal of sandals, I mean, connotes or symbolizes one thing, that you've lost your authority. And exactly that is what we have been seeing as far as all those chiefs who might have misconducted themselves and for that matter face the wrath of the Santehene. And as I was telling you, the communities with which these chiefs represent, a number of them are happy, with the exception of family members. Of course, they wouldn't be so happy about this particular development, especially when you are related to any of the affected chiefs. So that is so natural. But I can tell you that they are happy because they believe that justice has been served them.
In fact, let's hear from some of the people that you spoke to on the streets of Kumasi. Let's take a look.
I really support Otumfuo. Currently, I can see Otumfuo is taking away all the bad chiefs, so I really support him because chiefs are leaders and leaders should lead by example.
Now, I think
Otumfuo is doing house cleaning. Some of his sub-chiefs have made his name to be dragged into the mud for long as their leader. Is it right? It is right.
Otumfuo is doing the right thing, especially when sub-chiefs sell an already sold land to another person just because the second person came with more money. To me, I think such a chief should be distilled.
Nana, you're right, say.
Well, so, William, these are views of people you spoke to on the street of Kumasi. Stay with me, William. Osebonsu Safo Kantanka is a historian at the Menchia Palace. He's joining us on the telephone. Thank you so much, Safo Kantanka, for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, help us understand what processes are employed that leads to the destillment of these chiefs? What happens even before that particular ultimate decision is taken?
Yeah, chieftaincy institution has got its own way of life. The institution has got its rules, regulations, and in line with culture and tradition.
Right.
And just like any other institution has rules and regulations. So if you go against the rules and regulations in line with culture, then of course you have to be penalized for doing the wrong thing. And it is a hierarchy, and the highest order within the Ashanti community is Asante is the topmost of all the chiefs within the Asante mine community. And then behind him are the Amanyene, and behind the Amanyene are the Abrempong. And the Asante acts as the Amanyene for the whole of Kumasi community, as well as the king of the Asante kingdom. Now, within those 5 people you're talking about, 5 chiefs you're talking about, all are within the Kumasi community, that is Kumasi paramountcy. And so their case ends up with Asante. It doesn't go beyond, because Asante acts as the paramount chief of Kumasi, and they were treated within the paramountcy as the paramountcy met as equals, with the exception of Asante. All the Abrempong within the paramountcy of Kumasi are equal, so they are called they are Tipen4, or as you call, they are co-equals. And then when the case occurs, which would result to the destillment of any one of them, all of them would meet and deliberate upon the issue. When they have found their own colleagues have agreed that what that one person did was against the norms of the community, then of course the Asante would have to give its final verdict. And that is exactly what happened. Those people, all the 5 that were distilled within a spate of about 4-5 months, were all tried. That means all the Kumasi Abrempong, that is second in command to Amanyene, sat on their case, tried it just like a case is being tried in court. A jury is a jury type of trial. Now, when they all come to a consensus that what the person or the chief did was bad, then the Asante would have to give his final verdict.
I see. So how many times
is
the chief?
Exactly what happened.
I see. So now, how many times the chief warned before he is distilled?
It is not as if he just gets up and then distills. No, that is not the case. A case will be preferred against any chief that goes against the rules and regulations, and then his peers would have to gather, and the case will be called maybe a number of times. And even before the case is called, the particular chief that was distilled would have been warned a number of times. Apart from bringing the case before his peers, it goes first among his peers when Asante is not part of the decision-making them. And then from there, the case would be, if it is beyond them, would come to Asante before the final decision.
Nana, I appreciate your time on this. And there's some education that you bring to this. Osai Bonsu Safo Kantanka is a historian at the Menchia Palace. Thank you very much for joining us on Ghana Tonight. So, William, when you hear some of the people you spoke to, they talk about some of these sub-chiefs dragging the name of Otufo Osei II in the mud, and so this is a decision that they support. Tell me, what are some of the instances that people witnessed that Otunfo wasn't happy about that led to these decisions?
Well, so happy about, let me just refer you to May 17 this year, when Otunfo addressed a gathering at the KNUSC. I mean, specifically it was on small-scale mining and the fact that people have to do responsible mining. He said, and I quote, "My chiefs know that I have been speaking about this, and I'm not happy with chiefs in Amansie areas where Galamsey has taken over the land, and I say to them, if you sit there and say you are not aware, then say you are not fit to be a chief." And let's look at, a situation here. So the fourth chief to be distilled, which happened on Thursday, August 9, 2023, was Nana Saforo Koto, the chief of Bekwai Abodom. Bekwai, in contemporary terms, you call it Bekwai municipality. But in traditional terms, Bekwai, the traditional name for Bekwai municipality is Amansie East District. So this particular chief is coming from the Amansie enclave, and that make you reference, or that will make you reference what the king said, that he is not happy with chiefs in Amansie areas, indulging or involving themselves in this kind of illicit activity. So he knew what he was talking about, and even he's proud to that. He had met the Asanteman Traditional Council and has warned them that he was going to take some action against that. And he said that he was going to go undercover so that when he sits in state and begin to adjudicate matters of such nature, there wouldn't be any defense at all, because he knows what he's talking about. He has enough evidence to also arrive at a particular decision. And exactly what we are seeing, and I can tell you that the communities that these chiefs represent, most of them are happy.
Interesting times indeed. William, appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you so much. William Evan Senkum is our Northern Sector Bureau Chief here at Media Journal and our Chief Ashanti Regional Correspondent there. Keep your thoughts coming. This is live on Facebook. We put a question there, so we'll hear from you as well. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, tough times ahead for all of us as Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PRC, adjust upward tariffs for water and electricity for the third quarter to take effect from September 1. The impact is what we're going to be talking about tonight, and a number of you have been reacting to this particular situation and this consistent increases in water and electricity tariffs. And we have information from the PURC on this matter, and then some of your comments as well coming through. Nanam Wesi, the 7th, is Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, is going to be joining us on this matter to understand why questions have been raised about the formula that the PURC is using to calculate these increases in the utility tariffs that we have seen from September to date. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. We're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
You are a major stakeholder in nation building. Your voice matters. Start your day with us.
We simplify the conversations, break down the jargons and technicalities. We keep you well informed throughout the week. Start your day with us.
We give the leaders the mandate to govern our affairs. We have a responsibility to hold them to account. It begins here. Start your day with us. Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the Sunrise Morning Show with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Apiampofo, and William Asidu. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7. Your urban lifestyle radio.
The age-old rivalry that senior high schools engage in is still present within alumni. The battle for bragging rights to a particular endeavor remains even after school. If your school can cook, it means your school is here. If your school can boast of good culinary masterminds, this right here is the perfect platform to showcase that skill set. Alumni have met and they have chosen representatives to take up the task of preparing extraordinary dishes to bring victory to their respective schools.
Tell me what you're cooking.
Week in, week out, these schools will mount these workstations in a bid to buy your nutritional affinity to them. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your taste buds and fasten your aprons. These culinary experts are set to battle for the enviable crown of being tagged Lords of the Kitchen. This is Kitchen Wars Season 2.
Kitchen Wars Season 2, Sundays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix.
And Napa Foods. Say Napa. Enye ono soko.
PGL.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PRC, has announced an increase in utility tariffs effective September 1. That's some few days away. Following the quarterly adjustment process, electricity tariffs will go up by 4.22% and water by 1.18%. Take a look.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Quarterly Review Mechanism aims to track and incorporate changes in key factors determining natural gas, electricity, and water tariffs. The Commission approved a 4.22% increase in average end-user electricity tariff for non-lifeline residential customers and a 1.18% increase for all other water customer groups. There is, however, no increment for lifeline, industrial, and non-residential customers like hairdressing, barbering, tailoring, dressmaking, cold stores, and other small and medium-scale businesses. In the second quarter, electricity tariff was increased to 18.36%, up from 11.33% in the first quarter.
Well, so that's just for this quarter we're getting into. But let me give you an idea of how we have traveled from the first quarter of 2023 to this point. Remember, the first time we experienced this astronomical increase in tariffs was in September 2022. But take a look at this. In the first quarter of 2023, we had electricity being increased by 29.96%. And the justification was that they had to do full cost recovery and then also the increase in the price of natural gas and so on. And water, 8.3%. Now, you see, second quarter of 2023, electricity went up by 18.36%. The water in the second quarter, the tariff was varying in a particular range for different brackets of customers within different locations. Now, look at the third quarter, what we're getting into now, 4.22%. That's the lowest so far for electricity, and then 1.18% for water. Cumulatively, we've had an increase in electricity tariff by 52.54%. Now, think about this. It impacts on your pocket. Your own economy, your pocket economy is actually being impacted by this because you're paying over 50% more than how much you were paying for electricity a year ago, if you're looking at the cumulative effect. And then you can say same for water as well. But has your income in your pocket gone up by 50%? That's the question. And then you have all the other factors that influence inflation as well, taking so much from your personal income. It's a big deal. Now, Nana Mwesi, the seventh, is the Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, is joining us on the telephone. Nana, thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So, what is the issue with the formula that the PRC is using to calculate these increases that is taking a toll already on tariff users or consumers?
Good evening to you, Alfred, to your viewers across the country and the world over. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the methodology used by the PRC in computing the average end user tariffs for electricity that I speak for. However, we have concern about the application, the choose and pick when to apply each of the variables. And for the variables used in the methodology, we have the CD dollar exchange rate as one. Inflation is another variable used. The electricity generation mix, basically thermal and hydro generation contribution, is another. The weighted average cost of gas is the next variable. These are very key components that must be factored in computing electricity tariffs. So there's nothing wrong with this. But then when you choose and pick when to apply the changes in these variables, it becomes a cause for concern. Alfred, you remember that in the first quarter of the year, the PRC gave a fuel mix application of 26.1% for hydro and 73.9% for thermal. The IES contested this and said that, look, at the level of Akosombo and we in terms of water, hydro can generate more than 30% of our generation mix. And we will push for hydro because the hydro component is less expensive compared to the thermal components. However, the PRC went ahead. Fortunately, in the second quarter of this year, they moved the energy mix to 29% for hydro and 70.99% for thermal, which inched closer to what the IES projected from the beginning of the year. So that's one concern we had. The next was that in the second quarter of the year, the PRC said that the weighted average cost of gas went up to $6.52 per million British thermal units. That was an increase. And these changes were induced by the increment in the cost of gas from Nigeria. That is also okay. However, the energy mix that had more contribution from hydro didn't have any effect on electricity prices positively. It was a cause for concern. Fast forward, Alfred, we are in the third quarter of the year. The PRC comes again and say that the average the weighted average cost of gas has gone up to some $8.12 per million British thermal unit. It failed to give the reason for which this price has gone up compared to the second quarter that, really attributed the increase to the end gas price going up. In this one, they failed. And so we are looking for consistency in the application of the variable. The next thing we find, Alfred, in this third quarter is that the main objectives used for the price adjustment is that they want to reduce the cost spread between industrial consumers and, residential consumers. The next is that they want to make sure that they address the high cost of industrial, prices or the high cost of prices for industrial customers. However, in the final, or in the conclusion, they didn't bring any relief to industrial consumers. It's quite misleading. And so we are looking for consistency in the application of the variable or the methodology. That's all.
In fact, in this instance, they point to the cedi dollar variation, the exchange that you talk about. That is the value of the cedi against the major trading currency as one of the major reasons why we're seeing this, and that if the cedi holds its own and is stable against the major trading currency, then there will be some stability in this. Will that justify this trend of increases that we're seeing over the period?
For this quarter, the projected cedi dollar exchange rate is 11.5 compared to the second quarter rate of close to $12.7 cedis per dollar. And so if we are projected that this quarter's exchange rate will be lower, then it has to inure to the advantage of consumers. We didn't see that. Also, inflation is down. We didn't see that affecting positively what consumers need to pay. However, what we are seeing is that the weighted average cost of gas has gone up with no reason adduced. And so non-lifeline consumers need to pay for more. And there was no relief for industrial consumers. Alfred?
And so when there's the variable they are using has to lead to a decrease in the tariff, we don't see that happening. But when there's an increase, we rather see astronomical increases. Why?
Sure. So in the four variables, the cedi dollar exchange rate bodes well for consumers. The inflation is good for consumers. The electricity generation mix is positive for consumers. And these three variables need to bring down the price of electricity. The only reason that they will inch up the price is that the weighted average cost of gas has gone up. But how did it go up? There was no reason given. Which component of the supply, chain or the supply direction gave up this upward, increase or adjustment? Did we have any increase in the price of the gas supply from Nigeria or the price of gas supply from Atwabo? The PRC must come clear on this.
Very, very important question there. And we're knocking on the doors of the PRC to get some answers to that. Banana, I thank you. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Alfred. Good evening to you once again.
Good evening to you as well. Nana Amoisi VII is the Executive Director and founder of the Institute of Energy Security, IES. There. We asked you to share with us how much you spend on water and electricity tariffs, the bill monthly. Here's what we found and the responses that you gave to us. In fact, that question is still on our Facebook page and Twitter as well, 3FM, and then also TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and then also on Twitter. And this one from Manuel Nyameche Kofi Ahenkra Jr. says 600 to 700, depending on ECG. Okay, and this one here says that the next one says, I spend 150 cedis on water, but for electricity, 100 Ghana cedis a month. For the electricity, I think it is okay for me, but the water is too much, you say. Yeah, depends on the depth of your pocket. So different strokes for different folks, obviously. Cotonero says 400 cedis a month. You didn't state further for water, electricity, but Ima Capo says, I simply use only TV and a bulb. Let me say I spend 120 cedis a month, but last year it was 50 cedis a month. This is where, says President Kufuor's good work has brought us to. Ima, well, thank you. This one, Redeemer Joe says 6 bulbs, 1 iron, 155 cedis monthly. Says we're dying. Daniel Virtue says water 650 cedis, electricity 1,560. That's astronomical. What do you have in your home, really? Empress Kwabea says about 250 cedis. We only use to spend 120 cedis. I guess that's what you wanted to suggest. So you see that in the case of Empress, for instance, the cost has doubled over 100%, and we've seen that run through the many comments that we've got hundreds of comments. In fact, let's just take the last 3. Let's just take the last 3 comments and let's round it off. Of course, we have hundreds of your comments. We cannot read them all, but we'll do the best we can to take as many. This one here from Noah Ndomo says, for Petoy, I don't think they even check their readings. They only estimate and bring a high amount for us. If you can investigate them for us, we'll be grateful. Petoy, we have that on our radar. Thank you. Thank you very much, Noah. Keep your thoughts coming in. And these responses will be read tomorrow as well on New Day and across all Media Journal platforms. So thank you for sharing them with us. Coming up next on Ghana Tonight, Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana unfazed by moves by the government to freeze August salaries of members due to their strike action. Will this in any way coerce them to call off their strike action? Well, so the leadership of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, says it is unfazed with a decision by the Ministry of Education to cause a freeze of their August salaries because of their ongoing strike. Now, this is a statement that we got from the Ministry of Education. They were requesting for the attendance at the College of Education in the month of August of the members of CTAG. Wanted to know if they were really attending to their duties in the classroom or the lecture hall or not. Earlier, the ministry directed for the principals to do so and to submit this attendance of the tutors as well. And this directive is for strict compliance by all principals. That's what you see there, the last line in this statement from the ministry. Then we also got the next statement that was directing that their salaries for the month of August should not be paid to them. And that's what you see there. The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to the Controller and Accountant General says non-validation and payment of salary of CTAG members for the month of August 2023. And that's what is in effect now. And the CTAG members have been reacting to this. Prince Obenheman is president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG. He's joining us on Zoom. Thank you so much, Mr. Obenheman, for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So that's been this directive. You are not going to receive your salaries in August. What's CTAG doing about this? Hello?
We have reached out to the minister. I think I will first use the opportunity to correct some impression that is out there, and that today I've been doing that wherever I have spoken. People creating the impression that the minister invited us for a meeting and we failed to honor, and that has resulted in this action. It's not true because the minister invited us for a meeting that is for yesterday through a letter last Friday, which we responded, we replied, pointing out the impossibility of we, the national officers, being in Accra on Monday, against the fact that we had just closed from a meeting and people were on their way back home. We requested for an online meeting respectfully because we had ever done that with the minister. Unfortunately, we didn't get any feedback from the minister. We have had a lot of calls saying that by that action we have disrespected the minister. We wish to use this platform to reach out to the minister that we will SETAC, knowing how he has advocated for us in time past, will never do anything to show disrespect to his office.
Right.
It was just that we couldn't honor the in-person meeting. And today we have taken steps to write to the minister to explain in detail why we couldn't honor. Now we are aware with the salary freeze directive has come out. Apart from the fact that we've reached out to the minister, we have also reached out to the National Labour Commission because we know that we appeared before the commission last Wednesday. We're all waiting to appear again on the 30th of this month. Indeed, the commission asked us on our part. They appealed to us to call off the action, but we made it clear to the commission that where an appeal has been made, we needed to touch base with our constituents, which we've been doing. From that time, we are at a point that we are almost there where we would have reached out to all our constituents with the appeal to see what determination will make of it, of the strike. Now, this decision has been made. It's difficult because the appeals we're sending to the people to, as it were, rescind the decision and go back to the class. And this one coming out. It's really been difficult. But we've been talking to the people. We've been talking to the people, and we're also seeing what will happen. At the end of the day, I believe the National Labour Commission will make a determination.
But so let me understand this. So you are appealing to your members to agree to the calls for you to call off the strike, even before your demands are met. But now, because of this decision not to pay your August salaries, you are not going to heed to the appeals for you to call off the strike?
It's natural and it's quite understandable because we were appealing to them. We were sending the minister's appeal to them. We were sending the National Labour Commission's appeal to them. A lot of people, including people who are not even in government, people who are in the opposition, people who are in the ruling government, a lot of people have appealed to us, which we were in the process of talking to our people so that the council that took the decision or the National Delegate Congress that took the decision on behalf of council will have to take a decision and communicate to council for a final determination to be made on it. Then this one comes up. So really, it's a natural reaction that people will be reluctant to do that. But we are still consulting with our members to see the way forward.
I see. But then again, the Ministry of Education, with the statement that we put out on the screen earlier, asked for the attendance sheet of your members across all the 46 colleges of education to know whether they actually attended to their duties within this month of August or not. So have you reached out to the ministry or the minister after you failed to honor the said invitation for a meeting earlier?
In our letter to the minister today, which we sent in the morning, we indicated that we are ready to meet with the minister at any time. We recognize him as the director, rep of the employer. And we have always dealt with him, strike or no strike. This strike will be over. And the ministry would need the tutors to run the college. The college would also need, the tutors would also need the minister to be able to also, function effectively. So we don't want system breakdown. We don't want to pull up the bridge because of the strike. That's why we are reaching out to them and all of that.
Are you going to take a decision to call off the strike after meeting the minister? That is, if a meeting is called in the coming days?
The decision to call off the strike, as I have said, rest with the National Delegate Congress that took the decision, and we would then carry it to council for determination to be made. But as I have said, we are the leaders. We have constant interaction with the authorities. We are privy to a lot of things. So that is why we have to go back to the people and then let the people know what the current situation is, so that if there is a need to call off the strike, then we can do that. So we are still going through the process. You know, calling off strike by union is a process. So we are going through the process, and I want to believe that at the end of the day, we'll make a decision that will be good for all of us.
Well, so you have concerns, reason why you went on strike. So if you meet the minister, and even though your concerns have not been met, and he says, look, call off the strike, are you going to do so? Hello?
We are still meeting, the structures are meeting. You know, the locals meet in every college. They meet, every day. The zones also meet, the zonal chairman and the executives also meet. National executives meet. Even today, we have had about 2 meetings online, the national executive officers and all of that. So meetings are ongoing. But as I'm saying, it's a process. All these discussions will have to go. We have always adopted a bottom-up approach. That is why in every action that we take, we are able to put all our members in line, because the power always emanates from the grassroots, and we need to show them that respect. We need to respect their opinion and what have you, because it's on their back that we ride as leaders. So we need to take their concerns seriously. That is why we are respecting that.
Anyway, thank you very much for your time. Prince Obenhiman is president of the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG. Appreciate your time here on Ghana Tonight. There's an issue as well that is raging in Parliament, because the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament appears divided on, in fact, not appears, they are, because the minority on that committee says that, look, they are not supporting the conclusions of a statement that was put out there by the chair of the said committee, that's the Mines and Energy Committee, about the GNPC Gensa deal, debunking some $1.5 billion loss that the likes of Imani, the African Center for Energy Policy, and Bright Simmons had all put out earlier. Now, Samuel Atachia, who is the chair of this committee, put out a statement that they have, after 11 months long investigation, that the parliamentary committee described the computation methods used by ASEP and Imani, which resulted in the fact that we as a country are going to lose some $1.5 billion if we go, if GNPC enters into this agreement with Gensa Energy Ghana Limited in its current form. They say it's faulty, the formula they used. But the minority on this Mines and Energy Committee are saying that they distance themselves from this statement put out by the chair of this Mines and Energy Committee on this matter. We've also received some notices from the Ghana Gas Senior Staff Association of Ghana, who are also rejecting the Mines and Energy Committee chair's statement on this GNPC Gensa deal, raising issues of national security implications if this deal does go through, beyond the $1.5 billion loss that Imani and ASEF have projected that we could lose as a country. Now, I spoke to John Abdullah Jenapol, who is the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, on why they are distancing themselves from the chair of the committee's statement. Take a listen to him.
There was a meeting where I brought a written report, and I have all those documented, where I pointed to inaccuracies, inconsistencies in the report, and stated that, look, it is in the contract and the report. And when you net back, you pay GNPC only 2.9. Meanwhile, the commodity price itself is 4.9. So the differential of $2 per MMBTU, who would pay it? I insisted that the committee should be, and it's captured there. If you look at even the chairman's report, you will see a page, ranking member, where I say that there's a loss In the report, not even my statement. And following the report, I issued a statement on behalf of the minority, distancing ourselves. Franklin, Parliament has not approved any ACA deal. You check it well. Go and check the hands-up. We did not approve the ACA agreement. What we told them was that, yes, you brought figures. We cannot interrogate those figures when we've not seen the actual basis for those computations. So go back, do the right thing, and bring it to Parliament. But to come and ask Parliament to grant you approval to go and sign a deal when we haven't seen those figures, it will not work. That is why the agreement was not signed. So it is not the case that Parliament, and for that matter, the Mines and Energy Committee, approved that deal. If you read the handout very well, and I can forward my contribution on the floor, the video to you, where we said, yes, if the want to acquire shares, fine. Let's go back and do the right thing. Bring the terms and conditions, the assumptions, the financial assumptions, underlining this figure that you are bringing to us. So that deal would not have been signed. But back to the substantive issue of this agreement. Myself and some members maintain that this deal is not good. In fact, on the floor of Parliament at the last day, I raised this issue before the Speaker. And the Speaker referred the matter to the Joint Committee of Mines and Finance. We are yet to even sit on this preliminary report. So why even rush to issue the report? So please, don't use that brush to paint all of us as if it's the whole entirety of that committee that agrees with the content. But that is how Parliament is structured.
So that's John Abdullahi Jenapor there, ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, giving reasons why the minority on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament has disassociated itself from this statement signed by the chair of the committee concerning this GNPC Gensa Energy Ghana Limited deal. This is an issue that we stay the steam on in the coming days and get some more answers to why the committee is disputing this 1.5 billion loss that Imani and ASEP is projecting. But before we go, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has commissioned the $70 million Phase 2 Tamale Airport project. The project, which started in March 2020, will serve as an important gateway to accelerate regional economic activities. The project includes a new terminal building befitting the status of the airport as an international airport. It also includes a first-class 5-kilometer road linking it with the Tamale-Bolgatanga Highway, a new car park and commercial vehicle parking. The airport project also has an ultra-modern Hajj terminal dedicated to Hajj operations, thus making the Tamale hub the hub of Hajj operations in Ghana. It has a passenger capacity of 350,000. The project, amongst other things, is expected to enhance revenue generation for the Ghana Airports Company Limited. This is the Vice President earlier today.
This project, along with the Kumasi International Airport project under the UK Ghana Business Council, and I am very grateful to the predecessor of Harriet Thompson, the British High Commissioner to Ghana, who at that time was Ian Walker. Ian Walker was very, very passionate about this project, and I'm sure he would be very happy to see its completion. We were able to convince the UK Export Finance to do this project, and they agreed to fund this project, and I'm so happy that it has seen the light of day. On the 15th of August 2019, I was here to cut the sword for the commencement of work on Phase 2 of the Tamale International Airport project.
The business potential of this project as well is in the scope of this conversation in the coming days as well. But thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. Remember, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. On behalf of the rest of the team, do have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.